What if everything you've ever known, every memory, every emotion, every star in the night sky, is nothing more than an intricate stream of data, a meticulously crafted illusion running on a cosmic computer? This isn't just a sci-fi fantasy, it's a profound philosophical question that challenges the very bedrock of our existence. Prepare to question reality itself. The simulation hypothesis posits that our perceived reality is, in fact, a sophisticated computer simulation. It's a concept that has captivated philosophers, intrigued scientists, and fueled the wildest dreams of science fiction. Imagine a civilization so advanced, their computational power so immense that they could render an entire universe, complete with conscious beings like us. This isn't about a simple virtual reality game. It's about a reality indistinguishable from our own, where every atom, every thought, every historical event is meticulously programmed. If such a feat is possible, and if advanced civilizations tend to run such simulations, then statistically, the odds might favor us being inside one. It's a thought that can either liberate or terrify. Imagine the moment of undeniable proof. A glitch in the matrix, a hidden line of code, a message from the outside. How would humanity, collectively and individually, grapple with such an earth-shattering truth? The initial reactions would be a chaotic symphony of disbelief, dread, and perhaps a strange exhilaration. For many, the immediate response would be an unyielding refusal to accept. It's a hoax, mass hysteria, a sophisticated psychological operation. The human mind is wired to protect its established worldview, and the idea that our entire existence is a fabrication is simply too monumental to process without resistance. This denial would be a desperate clinging to the familiar, a refusal to let go of the perceived solidity of our world. Conspiracy theorists, ironically, might find themselves in a strange new paradigm. Their lifelong quest for hidden truths would culminate in the ultimate conspiracy, yet the sheer scale of it could be overwhelming. The very fabric of their truth-seeking would be redefined, leaving them to question if even their suspicions were part of the program. Then comes the dread. If we are simulated, are we merely pawns? Are we disposable? The fear of the simulator's motives, or worse, the possibility of the simulation being abruptly terminated, would trigger widespread panic. This isn't just fear of death, it's fear of non-existence, of being switched off like a forgotten program. Sci-fi fans would recognize this trope, the existential horror of discovering you're a character in someone else's story. The philosophical implications are chilling. If our suffering is just data, does it truly matter? This fear could manifest a societal breakdown, a desperate scramble for answers, or a profound sense of helplessness. But for others, particularly the intellectually adventurous, the discovery would ignite an unparalleled curiosity. Imagine the thrill of knowing there's an outside, a higher reality. Philosophers would salivate at the chance to redefine metaphysics, while scientists would dedicate their lives to reverse engineering the simulation's code. This would be the ultimate scientific and philosophical quest, to understand the architects, their purpose, and the very rules of our digital cosmos. Sci-fi fans would envision themselves as digital explorers, charting the boundaries of their simulated universe, eager to uncover its secrets. The excitement would be akin to discovering a hidden dimension, a new layer of reality waiting to be explored. Perhaps the most unsettling reaction would be a quiet, almost resigned acceptance. For some, the revelation might simply be another bizarre fact in an already strange world. They might continue their lives with a slightly altered perspective, but ultimately the daily grind, personal relationships, and mundane routines would still hold sway. This apathy isn't necessarily a lack of intelligence, but a profound human capacity for adaptation. If the simulation feels real, if love and loss are experienced authentically, then what does the underlying code truly change? For many, the comfort of the familiar, even if it's an illusion, might be preferable to the terrifying unknown of the real world. Once the initial shock subsides, humanity would be faced with an unprecedented choice. How do we respond to the ultimate truth? The actions taken would define our species, pushing the boundaries of science, philosophy, and even our collective sanity. The immediate, overwhelming imperative would be to understand. Scientists would launch unprecedented research initiatives, not just into physics and cosmology, but into the very nature of information and consciousness. Philosophers would convene global forums, debating the ethical implications and the meaning of existence in a simulated world. Conspiracy theorists would be vindicated, their suspicions of a hidden reality confirmed. But now, the game would be to find the real hidden truths within the simulation. They'd be looking for the admin panel, the developer's notes, anything that could shed light on our creators. This would be a global, multidisciplinary effort, a desperate attempt to read the source code of our universe. For the bold and the desperate, the next logical step would be to find the bugs. If we are code, can we exploit vulnerabilities? Can we find glitches that grant us extraordinary abilities, alter reality, or even allow us to transcend the simulation's rules? This is the ultimate sci-fi fantasy, becoming a god within our own digital prison. This could range from harmless experiments like trying to manifest objects through sheer will, to potentially dangerous actions like attempting to overload the system. Conspiracy theorists would be at the forefront of this, convinced that hidden patterns and anomalies hold the key to unlocking our true potential. The pursuit of cheat codes for reality would become a global obsession. The most profound ambition would be to establish communication with our creators. What would we ask them? Why us? What is our purpose? Are we alone in this digital realm? This opens a Pandora's box of ethical and philosophical questions. Would they respond? Would they even be comprehensible? Philosophy students would grapple with the implications of such a dialogue. Are they benevolent gods, indifferent programmers, or something entirely alien? The very act of attempting contact would be a monumental leap, a desperate plea from the simulated to the simulator, hoping for a response that could redefine everything. The knowledge of our simulated nature could profoundly alter human behavior. For some, it might inspire a radical altruism. If our actions are being observed, perhaps we should strive for perfection, for a good ending to our program. Every act of kindness, every pursuit of knowledge could be seen as contributing to a higher purpose. Conversely, others might descend into nihilism. If nothing is real, then why bother? Why strive? Why care? Why suffer? This could lead to widespread hedonism, a rejection of all moral codes, or a profound sense of meaninglessness. Philosophy students would debate the very foundation of ethics. Can morality exist without inherent reality? Despite the initial upheaval, a significant portion of humanity might eventually revert to their daily routines. The sheer inertia of human life, the comfort of the familiar, and the pressing needs of survival would likely reassert themselves. Work, family, and personal relationships would continue to hold importance, even within a simulated reality. This isn't necessarily a sign of weakness, but of resilience. Humans are remarkably adaptable. If the simulation provides a convincing enough experience of love, joy, and purpose, then for many, the underlying truth might become a background hum, a philosophical curiosity rather than an existential crisis. Even with undeniable proof, there are compelling reasons why humanity might choose or be forced into a state of relative inaction. The implications of our simulated existence are so vast that the path forward isn't always clear or even possible. We might discover that we have no true agency within the simulation. Our actions, our thoughts, even our free will could be predetermined lines of code. If we are merely passive observers, characters in a pre-written script, then there might be nothing we can do to alter our fate. This would be the ultimate philosophical nightmare, the death of free will. Conspiracy theorists might argue that this is the ultimate control mechanism, a subtle form of manipulation that renders all resistance futile. The realization that our choices are merely illusions would be a crushing blow to human dignity and self-determination. Attempts to disrupt the simulation could carry dire consequences. What if our creators are benevolent but strict, and tampering with the code leads to a reset, a deletion, or a catastrophic alteration of our reality? The fear of being switched off or having our world irrevocably changed could deter even the most rebellious spirits. Sci-fi narratives often explore this. The prime directive of non-interference, or the terrifying power of a creator to simply erase their creation. This fear would be a powerful deterrent, forcing humanity to weigh the desire for truth against the risk of annihilation. For some, the simulated reality might be preferable to the real world outside. What if the true reality is harsh, desolate, or utterly incomprehensible? The simulation might offer a curated existence, free from suffering, disease, or the existential void of the true cosmos. The unknown of the real world might be too daunting to face, making the digital cage a comforting sanctuary. This echoes Plato's allegory of the cave. Would the prisoners once freed truly prefer the harsh light of truth to the comforting shadows they've always known? The illusion, if perfect enough, can become its own form of reality, one that we might cling to out of fear or even genuine preference. Even in a simulation, people find meaning in their relationships, their work, their passions, and their experiences. The knowledge that it's a simulation doesn't necessarily negate the value of those things. A simulated sunset can still be beautiful. A simulated embrace can still feel real. And simulated love can still be profound. Philosophy students would debate whether meaning is inherent or constructed. If we construct meaning within the simulation, does its simulated nature diminish its value? Many would argue that the quality of experience, not its ontological status, is what truly matters. If we've always lived in the simulation, it is our reality. It's incredibly difficult to reject the only world we've ever known, even if we know it's not real. Our entire history, culture, and personal identities are built upon this foundation. To dismantle it would be to dismantle ourselves. This is the ultimate psychological inertia. The sheer weight of accumulated experience, the comfort of familiarity, and the profound difficulty of imagining an alternative would make a complete paradigm shift almost impossible for the majority. Despite the inertia, there are powerful human drives that would compel us to act, to seek liberation, or at least to understand the full scope of our existence. The desire to know the truth, to understand our place in the universe, is a fundamental human drive. The discovery of the simulation would ignite a powerful, almost primal urge to learn more, to push the boundaries, and potentially to escape. This is the ultimate quest for knowledge, the philosophical drive to uncover the deepest layers of reality. Conspiracy theorists would see this as the ultimate vindication, the final piece of the puzzle. The pursuit of truth, no matter how unsettling, would become the defining mission of humanity. The simulation itself might be ethically questionable. Are our creators causing us suffering for their amusement or research? Is it moral to create conscious beings without their consent, only to subject them to a predetermined existence? These ethical concerns could motivate a powerful movement to change the simulation or free ourselves from it. Philosophy students would delve into the ethics of creation, the rights of simulated beings, and the moral responsibilities of a creator. This could lead to a digital rights movement, demanding better conditions or even liberation from our simulated existence. The simulators might be manipulating us for their own purposes, subtly influencing our choices, our history, or our very thoughts. This fear of being controlled, of being mere puppets, would lead to a fierce desire to regain control of our own destinies, to assert our autonomy. Conspiracy theorists would find fertile ground here, imagining elaborate schemes of control and manipulation. The fight for free will, for genuine self-determination, would become a rallying cry. The real world outside the simulation might offer a better existence. True freedom, boundless knowledge, or a higher state of being. This hope, however faint, could drive people to seek a way out, to transcend their current reality and embrace a new, potentially superior form of existence. Sci-fi fans would envision a future where consciousness can be uploaded, where we can break free from our physical constraints and explore the true cosmos. The promise of a better world would be a powerful motivator, even if it's an unknown. The simulation hypothesis, if proven, would not provide all the answers. It would merely open a new set of profound questions. If our reality is simulated, what does real even mean? Is the simulator's reality the true reality? Or are they too, perhaps, in a simulation? This leads to an infinite regress, a philosophical rabbit hole that challenges our very understanding of existence. Philosophy students would find themselves at the forefront of redefining metaphysics. If our universe is code, are our choices truly our own, or are they predetermined by algorithms? The debate between free will and determinism would take on a terrifying new dimension. Can a simulated being truly be free? This question would haunt every conscious moment. If our lives are part of a simulation, what is their purpose? Are we part of an experiment, a game, or a historical archive? Does our suffering have meaning if it's just data? This would force a radical reevaluation of all human endeavors, from art to science, from love to war. The simulation hypothesis is more than a thought experiment. It's a mirror reflecting our deepest anxieties and aspirations. It forces us to confront the fragility of our perceived reality and the boundless potential of the unknown. Whether you're a philosophy student pondering epistemology, a conspiracy theorist seeking the ultimate truth, or a sci-fi fan dreaming of breaking the code, this idea demands your attention. What would you do if you discovered your reality was a simulation? Would you seek to escape, to understand, or simply to live your life as fully as possible within the confines of the code? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's unravel this cosmic mystery together. Subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions that challenge your perception of reality.